You're too fit. Huh. Only my friend know my secret. Mr. Brooks, though he's only sheep, could reveal it. Ah, boy. Some people is razor blade. Careful with them razor blade. Some people is razor blade. Careful with them razor blade. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. All my trust I put in you. When I go, I come to you. And the bills I cannot pay. It's only you. No, my Sunday. I thought you was my friend. You know how to pretend. What kind of thing is this? You're talking my business. I don't need enemy. If you're doing that to me, saying you have my back, but you eating me like shot. Some people is razor blade. Careful when them razor blade. Some people is razor blade. Careful when them razor blade. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. Life is hard. It's a struggle. I need someone I could talk to. You're telling me what people say. Only negative, but you're doing it the same way. I thought you was my dukes. You're kicking me with your boots. That smile you give and real. Praise God, you're standing still. The money you borrow me, you're telling everybody the things I do for you. You forget to tell them to. Some people is razor blade.
This is where I take the opportunity to say a pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Some people is razor.
I want to ensure that I am very loud and clear today. Last week we had a little issues with the pre-recording where it was a bit low.
They cut in on,
Persons did indicate. I only saw it after that I
cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in
paid attention to the pre-recording.
on the boat.
I'm hoping that I'm a bit louder and clear today.
They cut in on the boat. Not everybody that laugh with you is your friend. Watch them.
And then I don't want to be too loud
Cut in razor.
that you guys are getting a bad feedback.
Razor.
But I want to be loud enough.
Razor. Razor. Sharpen razor. I don't want no razor blade. I don't need no razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. Them sharpen razor blade. I don't want
Imagine saying all that and all you didn't see me yet, eh?
blade.
Good afternoon,
Them sharpen
ladies and gentlemen.
people is razor.
Today being Monday,
Careful
the 26th day of January 2026.
is razor blade.
It is another class in session program. I am yours truly, Royalty James, for another wonderful one. See, I brought a smile on my face.
No razor blade.
Feeling happy.
Don't need no razor blade. I don't want no razor.
I'm feeling glad.
Them sharpen razor blade. I don't want no razor blade.
Anybody want to guess why?
No razor blade. No razor blade.
Watch me, the man.
Razor blade.
So this is where I take the opportunity to officially say a pleasant good afternoon to each and every one of you guys. It is another wonderful day in Grenada, Carriacou, and PD Martinique. And ever so often when we're here, we want to be able to extend a heartfelt good afternoon to each and every one of you. And indeed, to invite you guys to this one. I really want to invite you guys to this one because I haven't seen a lot of familiar faces. But let me invite you guys to this one right here.
At the Ulster this Saturday, football meets Food Fest. Victoria go nice. The action continues in the Andrew Monroe Knockout Football Competition at the Alston George Park. Game 1 on Saturday from 7 p.m. features a clash between Bonaire and Montpariel, while the second encounter from 9 p.m. sees a matchup between Upstreet and Old Boys. After the football, all roads lead to Diamond Street for Food Fest. This Saturday, Victoria nice. Football meets Food Fest.
All right, so don't forget this one is happening at the Alston George Park on Saturday. This one put on by myself along with the St. Mark's Organization Development and the St. Mark's Football League. So it's wonderful football action continuing on Saturday. So many of you guys who have not yet been at any one of the games, I would like to invite you guys at the games so you can definitely be a part of the action, all right? Yeah? Just want to ensure that I get my songs balanced. Been sung a little bit low last week as indicated, but I want to at the same time ensure that you guys are hearing me loud and clear so you don't get a bad feedback, because there's always a feedback once I do that. All right, so you guys should be hearing me so much better now. You guys must be hearing me so much better now. Yeah? Put up a little thing on the mixer. Mixer is good. Volume is good. No much of a feedback. You guys should be hearing me good now. All right? So ladies and gentlemen, again, we want to invite you guys to the event on Saturday. So come out in your numbers, yes, so you can be a part of the wonderful football action taking place out there in Victoria in St. Mark's. Ladies and gentlemen, officially, a caretaker has been selected for the constituency for St. George's Northwest, in that of Dr. Adrian Joseph. His announcement was made last Thursday at the Hartfield Secondary School with an indication of the now seated parliamentary representative and former Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Kit Mitchell, who nominated him. It was seconded. It was accepted by the political leader of the party. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what we have seen in just the past few months indicates clearly that our legend, our former political leader, our former Prime Minister, the longest served Prime Minister that Grenada has ever seen, again, making a step towards stepping away from frontline politics. I am really not the person that is ready, like every other, that is saying his time has come. I am not one of the persons that are ready to see the back or see the end of the political career of Dr. the Right Honorable Kit Mitchell. It is one that gets me a little bit in my feelings. I must say that, because within my entire life, in the understanding, in the growth, in the experience of politics in Grenada, I have grown to respect and love Dr. the Right Honorable Kit Mitchell. As I always share the story, it did not start today. It started when I was just about 9 years old or more, when the story was told to me as it relates to me showing love and respect for the then name that was affectionately known as Tellstone. I grew up with a Tellstone jersey. I believe at one point I was the youngest Grenadian with an NNP jersey. That was the white jersey with the green collar. Willan Jewsbury was the very first NNP candidate to give me a jersey, and I was not eligible to yet cast a ballot. For years in my youthful life, I have grown to understand politics. I affiliated myself in and around politics. I was a youth parliamentarian for a number of years. One of my very first facilitators was the now political leader, Honorable Emmeline Peer. And never so often in emulating politics in Grenada, even the mock youth parliament, I always envisioned myself as Dr. Mitchell. Astute, being able to speak, being able to be comprehensive verbally, being a bit humorous when you can, being knowledgeable on things that you're speaking about, and of course, displaying humanly kind love and humbleness towards people. And so, as this curtain continues to pull, I would continue to take the opportunity to extend a heartfelt thank you, gratitude, love, and respect that I have always and will continue to show to Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell. His legacy can't never be and will never be erased. So now that he have selected a candidate to basically fill his position, as I indicated, that it shows some form of saying goodbye to frontline politics. Again, I'm not the person that are good at goodbyes. And for Dr. Mitchell, for in the past 2 to 3 years, who have became not just an icon to me, he became a friend, he became a motivator, he became an influencer. And so, to wait all these years to finally get the opportunity to be close to this gentleman is the time he is about to turn his back on politics. Dr. Mitchell, I say thank you very much again and again and again and again and again. And I know your work as it relates to your name being on a ballot might have been ended, but your experience for your country, love for your party, I know that our connection, our rapport, will continue for as long as God gives us the breath of life. Dr. Mitchell, go with God, continue to serve your people, whether it be directly or indirectly. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, today I started with a particular song. By Elymus Gilbert. And let me tell you why I played this song.
Everybody here at the Mini Stadium, Honorable Evelyn Care. Put your hands together.
Welcome, our assignment representative.
And I'm very happy that she's here. Because one thing we could say, she gives generously to St. Martin de Porres Artist for always support this institution.
I need not to. Right? I need not to tell you guys whose voice this is. Some people is razor blade. Careful with them razor blade. What they do? They cut in on the both sides. Yes, brothers and sisters. This is our dear brother, Brother Jude, who would have welcomed the political leader in one of the forums that was being held, a sport meet that was being held. Ladies and gentlemen, I always take pride in doing one thing, and that is letting people know that one of the most moral stature I would have grown up with is accepting when you're wrong. My mother and father, who were disciplinarians, always emulated in us to stand and take responsibility for whatever it is that you are in charge of, whatever you do, in whatever you say. And that when you're wrong, you must accept that you're wrong. And my mother will always mention that when you're wrong, you accept the consequences that come with it. And I would like to emulate this, or extend that very same advice to this present administration. Today, I read something from a Facebook page. I will not disclose the Facebook page, but if you know, well, you know. That reads, some Grenadians exhibit mischievous behavior, and when things do not go their way, they often criticize others. During the time that the NNP was in power, many individuals did not express their views due to fear of retribution. The NDC has been in power for nearly 5 years, and it is unrealistic to expect all issues to be resolved in such a short time frame. It is important to recognize that not everyone can receive housing assistance simultaneously. Additionally, some individuals are attempting to undermine the government by failing to pay contractors. It is advisable to address the issue promptly. Many ministers may not be fully aware of ongoing problems because they have delegated responsibilities to certain individuals. And some of those individuals may not act in the best interest of government. Watch me. You see, this problem that we're faced with Grenadians does not solely lie on the government of the day. But you see, when your supporting cast cannot identify to you when you are wrong, you will never understand what is to be wrong. It's like a parent growing a child that have never disciplined him or her because they always blame something or someone for their shortcomings. We had a growing issue of gun violence in Grenada. When the Prime Minister decided it was to be addressed, he said it was a Caribbean pandemic that was soon going to reach our shores. And as the Minister of National Security, he at the time still did not accept, even if he implemented measures that could have helped curb the issue at the time. There were issues ongoing in the Ministry of Education. The very said individual that you just heard told Grenadians or spoke to the government by indicating to them that the issues that are going on within the Ministry of Education is because they have too much NNP working in the Ministry of Education. When the issue of the seed program came up and persons started to make queries and complaints, a particular broadcaster that supports the NDC made it abundantly clear that the Prime Minister must send home all who he knows that are NNP supporters. When the issue of housing came about after Hurricane Beryl, with the contradiction what was said by the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Social Development. One blamed the young man that was being hired to do the work. So she said it was a disaster after the disaster. Another one said it is because there are persons that are collecting money and was not getting the work done. When there was the issue of 3 prisoners escaping in custody of the police, the Prime Minister immediately took to task the RGPF and the officers that are responsible, yet still not making a public apology, and blamed them. Now, with what I just read, indicates to you, ladies and gentlemen, that this is an administration that blames everything and everyone but their actions. Because if I am to address this, that there are ongoing issues, that contractors for the past year and a half, this is not a today conversation. This is not in a one constituency conversation. You hear me? This is not just happening only in St. Mark's, or only in St. Andrews, or only in Carriacou. Throughout the length and breadth of Grenada, you have heard persons mentioning that they have done work with and for government, and in terms of payment, it is not forthcoming. So the ministers are unaware that after a year plus, that there are persons within their realm, within their employment, that are undermining them, and they keep them right there. They haven't moved them. They have not moved any one of them. But the first thing that they tend to do is to blame NNP. There is too much NNP around, and there is NNP that is trying to undermine the government. When someone does not want to take blame for the action, it shows poor charisma and characteristics. It shows, ladies and gentlemen, that those are persons that are not willing to accept the fact that they are faltering. But let me play another clip for you, which to me is very fascinating.
Is responsible under the contract and brief for pressure testing the pipes. Now, this is a critical issue, and I've made it clear that I'm not accepting any shortcuts, because when that pressure comes down from Concord and comes through those pipes, we cannot have a situation where the pipes are leaking or the pipes burst. The implications will be catastrophic. And therefore, if there are issues with leaks and so on, we need to know that now before the roads are reinstated. My brief is that the contractor is responsible for doing so. And the contractor seems to have had no equipment to be able to do so. Now,
I'm getting again a bit of feedback, but I'm hoping that you guys just heard what was said. I'm getting a bit of feedback, but I'm hoping you guys just heard. Let me just try pulling it back.
So, and the contractor seems to have had no equipment to be able to.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our Prime Minister who said that he briefed his contractors. That is him talking in the direct conversation with contractors. He said it. He said it. Now, he wants no issue. And he's mentioning that the contractors does not have the equipment to do it. So, a contractor is hired to do a job. A contract is awarded to a contractor. I am certain that one of its main purpose that would guarantee his qualification or the qualification for that contract must be equipment. You tell me? Even if he does not have it, he must give you the assurance that it can be sourced. But then again, why would you hire or take a contractor who you know that would have to source another person to get that issue rectified than to just hire a contractor who can do the entire work? My 2 pence are still in the care of Bright.
Do so. Now, also therefore has taken on its own and attempted, even though it's not its responsibility, obviously it will audit because it's the client and ultimately it's responsible for water, but doing the pressure testing itself to try and help move this issue along. That led to some contention between them and the contractor. Without doubt, the contractor as well is also responsible for reinstating the road.
So we're actually moving ahead with road reinstatement, the permanent reinstatement, prior to completion of the pressure testing. Now, we might say, well, should we take that risk? It's a calculated risk. Pressure testing has commenced, and the first of the pressure testing has been successfully completed. We are also...
Folks, I don't want to give you all too much of a bad feedback, but I want you to get my point here. I want you to get my point here. So you're hearing them state categorically what they are expecting. They are making the selections. They are choosing the contractors. They are doing whatever they have to do. These conversations that you're hearing as of late from the NDC is excuses, blatant excuses that are being made. These people have an excuse for everything. They don't accept anything at all. They don't accept nothing at all. Whenever something comes up, NDC either blames the past administration, somebody within the realm. Imagine the Prime Minister is speaking about persons who visited our shores and was fatally murdered and does not have the empathy in him to at least share some form of sympathetic actions or say to the people who have been involved, we're sorry as a country. And to tell you how the guy like to make excuses. The guy say criminalization and legalization and decriminalization is the same thing. How can you say to me a leader who fails to accept when he's wrong could be a good leader? You're lacking something, somewhere, somehow. You're lacking something. Because as a leader, you must be able to accept. If you're growing your child or children and something comes up, you as a parent ought to be able to say, watch me. As a parent, I normally grow my children right, but I don't understand what happened. And so I accept that I was wrong, or my child was wrong, sorry, and I'm going to deal with the situation. You can start making excuses as a parent. NDC makes excuses for every single thing. They are not willing to accept. They are not willing to mention anything. Imagine here in this country, our Prime Minister say they're not accepting deportees. They're accepting what? Third world refugees. I said, come on. Come on. Is it that hard to speak to the Grenadian people? The people who elected you? You're trying to fancy everything. This is not going to bring you anywhere. And I concur with Dr. Mitchell when he says Deacon Mitchell is the worst leader this country has ever seen. These people are making the 2008 NDC look good. And what is happening is the people that are supporting them are not willing to step into the limelight and say, my government is not performing in the way that I elected them to do so. It is excuses after excuses after excuses. You're making vague decisions. You're making careless decisions. You're doing things outside of the norm. And you're attempting to make justification. I take an excerpt from Linda Stricker's speech that says, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell told the Parliament that his preference was to see the decriminalization of cannabis or marijuana starting at age 18 because it is the age of civil responsibility. But he had to settle for 21 because of the passionate debate and convinced him that 21 was the better choice. There was a passionate debate. We went back and forth. I then, too, sometimes see in black and white, if you are an adult, you're an adult. 18 is 18. We are recognizing 18. You have drive, you can vote, you can get married. So from my perspective, you should be able, at 18, if you do so, to wish to choose, but was in minority. He told the lower house of Parliament as he contributed to the debate on the amendment of the Drug Abuse Prevention and Control Amendment Bill 2026. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to jump into that bill very briefly. Because, let me say this. There are things of this bill that you must know firsthand. And so, I have a nice little read. I'm gonna read it out for you. Let me ensure that I get my hands on it before I read it out to you. Right. The marijuana reform, the cart was placed before the horse. Because there are things that must have been put in place. And understand, as I told you all last week, this bill was prematurely placed on the table in Parliament due to the ongoing issues that this administration has been faced with regionally and internationally between the past month and a half. We know that bill don't ready yet. But remember, this is a promise. And we're getting closer to the timing. Yeah? But this bill was expected to bring the wow. This bill was supposed to bring the wow. People, the young men on the street, on the block, was supposed to say, yeah, boy, that is the government. We can smoke marijuana. That, however, slipped through because of the ongoing issues that have been happening. People have been seeing the bigger picture. Unemployment, the day-to-day runnings of this country, as a null, the issues that have been faced both regionally and internationally. So that marijuana thing, they just drag it. So we know that it was prematurely done. Consultations and conversations, even when offered by a particular member of the House, he was shut down. The government wanted to decriminalize marijuana. Let me take my time. But this bill does something reckless. It creates legal expectation before building the system to manage them safely. Right? So you brought forward a bill, but there are structures that you're going to hear, we're going to be running through it, that are going to be broken down, that you would understand where I'm coming from. The law says you can have licensed medical cannabis operation, licensed cultivation, licensed supply chain, but there is no licensing system. Where do you gain your license? God alone knows. The bill literally says the minister shall ensure that legislation is developed for the regulated industry. So mind you, a bill has been passed, but however, yes, the minister shall ensure that the legislation is developed. What does it mean to be developed? So, there is a system in place for an industry that would license you, but there is no laws that governs that industry as yet. Cart before the horse. Read it again. They're legalizing activities first, then figuring out the rules later. So let's build a school, let's put children in it. When they reach in school, we go see what rules we get in. Let's have a competition, and when the competition starts, we're going to place the rules in. There is a pattern. We saw it with the fishing ban, where regulation dropped on the fishermen with no transition plan. We saw it with travel advisory, when the Grenadian was caught completely unprepared. Now this, every time, Grenadians are left scrambling to deal with changes that should have had system in place first. Remember we talked about the implementation of the fees in licensing? So it was implemented, and then not implemented. When you go and you find out and you get to know and you mention it, then they tell you it is there. What is missing from this bill? One, no licensing criteria. Who gets approved to grow or sell cannabis? The bill does not say. So we hear about the age thing, right? We hear about the age thing. So who at this stage is approved to grow or sell? Who grows, who sells? Two, no quality standard. How do we ensure medical cannabis is safe and is properly tested? Yeah? So take it to me. You have an industry. You decided you're going to make drugs, right? you're going to make whatever drug for whatever illness there is. And you're given the task to say, okay, go ahead with the industry. When that drug have to be tested, who tests it? Who approves it? Are you making your own drug and test it and say, okay, it's okay? Is it right? So you make your drug and you could say it's okay? 3, no definition of qualifying medical condition. Which illness actually qualifies? I guess they'll figure it out later. So, it is for medical purposes, but what are the underlying medical purposes that it would be used for? So a man go say, I have a headache, man. I have a headache. And because I have a headache, I sit down in the bus terminal or wherever it is, not in the bus terminal, because I'm public use. Maybe I'm at some place, wherever I'm at, and I smoke me weed because I have a headache. Right? No independent regulation body. Instead, one minister makes all the decisions. No expert, no oversight, no accountability. So whoever is going to do that is a minister. They never stated that there is a regulatory body that has been put in place, that you send your application, because at the end of the day, come on, we know how the system runs in Grenada. You want to start a business, you want to start something, there is a process. So you write and you say to the minister, my name is Prince James. I am looking to start growing marijuana on wherever property, whatever. And I send it to the minister. And the minister say, okay. No public education. Parents, employers, tourism, operators, nobody knows what that means for them. Right? Because we state that there is no smoking in public space. Right? Or so the regulation. I'll jump in it in a while. The public space conversation, right, is open and it's vague. It is open and it's vague. Because even if I am allowed to have a 5-piece and I decide to smoke it on a bus, if a police cannot arrest me for it, the most I could have to do to tell the person is to out it. If they don't want to, then they don't. No treatment expansion. What are the counselors' service now? The rehabilitation centers, the prevention program for young people. What is its purpose now? So before, when we had so many entities that deal with drug prevention, drug avoidances, what are their role and function as it relates to that now? Let me say to you, anybody in Grenada, at least 92% of persons in Grenada who smokes for recreational purpose. We never had no issue in Grenada where medicine has been a marijuana thing. Very few Grenadians have had issues medically and turned to marijuana, even before. So there was no demand that, okay, we have a growing in cancer patients, a growing in diabetics, and it has been proven that one of the most effective things is marijuana. So then we could say, okay, let's decriminalize because it would help curb that issue. There is no purpose for the decriminalization, you know. It is a promise made and it's a promise trying to be kept by whatever means necessary. No clear enforcement guidelines. When do the police issue $300 fine versus criminal charges? Nobody knows. What does the police use to weigh and measure what is and what isn't? When should I, when shouldn't I not? It is on a complaint, it is on a report, but what it is. Can your employer fire you for legal off-duty cannabis use? So now you can be seen maybe in your uniform, whatever way you're walking, and you're smoking. What does your employer have? What is these 4 things? You wouldn't be able to say, well, okay, you're using marijuana, you can't come to work. Or you shouldn't be walking and using marijuana. You decide you take your break and you go up in the bush up there and you take a little marijuana smoke. You come back to work, you smell the marijuana. He can tell you nothing. How does the tourism industry handle guests with cannabis? Yes? What makes someone a real Rastafarian for religious examination? Yes? The bill will create confusion, chaos, and new problems for many, especially the vulnerable, especially the young. This is carelessness dressed up as progress. See, when we put our minds at it and we understand what really is, then we should first and foremost look within ourselves and ask, who benefits from this? Remember at one time they had asked persons to start growing a particular product, you know. When we had something, I think, something to do with trees. Something, was it mealybug or something? So it was affecting trees, and then persons were asked to do particular something. But my point I'm getting at is that if there's a growing issue, or there was a growing issue way back then, because let me say to you, I remember one time Dr. Mitchell clearly saying to police officers, a man have like a 5-piece, don't waste the coat time. Yeah, we were more trying to curb the bigger drug dealers. And let me say, and nothing new to what was happening. Recreational smoking was already being done. Persons were asked and were preventing themselves from smoking in the public. All that was things that were already happening. So, I want to read a piece of something for you guys. The Minister for Agriculture, Lands and Fisheries and Planning, Honorable Lennox Andrews, cited this move as that prioritizes the health of individuals and safety for our youth, while finally unlocking therapeutic and economic powers for all Grenadians. The bill marks a shift from punitive prohibition to a balanced, evidence-based framework grounded in social justice, public health, and economic opportunities. The government approach is anchored in three core pillars. Hear them. Restorative justice and social equality. Watch me. NEC like that word so much that they don't even know what it means. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what is restorative justice. Restorative justice is a voluntarily victim-centered approach to crime that focuses on repairing harm through communication between those harmed, those responsible, and the community. It seeks to address the needs, promote offenders' accountability, fosters healing, and reintegration rather than just punishing the offender. Right? So let me tell you something. When you draft a bill like that, and your intention is met without communication as indicated, information, what are you curbing? Who are you fooling? The draft bill provides an amnesty and automatic expungement of criminal records for specific minor cannabis offenses. Pending criminal proceedings for the specific minor amount of cannabis will be discontinued. Chairman of the Cannabis Committee, Anselm Cloden, described this as addressing long-standing injustice affecting young people. Impungement will be removed barriers to employment education, and mobility, particularly for young Grenadian men. So you wouldn't have a cannabis charge, but you're fighting and you have a gun. Let's be honest. For the past 2-3 years, what has been our most significant and focused crime? Has it been marijuana and marijuana use? No. Personal rights and public safety. Adults aged 21 and over will be permitted to pose or possess up to 56 grams of cannabis and 15 grams of cannabis resigned, plus register to cultivate up to 4 plants per household for private use. Public consumption remains prohibited and subject to fixed penalties. So, again, based on that bit of regulation and what we read earlier on, what is the enforcement there? Is it that, okay, I have 56 grams in my hand, but I have 2 pounds in my pocket? Is that what it is? And based on the Drug Prevention Act, what is it that gives the power to the police to maybe carry out a personal search? Because if a man tell you, well, officer, I have a 56 gram in my hand here, I mean, what gives the power to the police to be able to know, search you in person, to be able to know that if you have more or not? So yes, you're possessing it in your hand of 56 gram. So when you speak of possession, are you speaking as it relates to what the police see? And if the police want to find out more, on what grounds that he has that power to carry out that search? The cat before the house. So when we say to you guys that this is an administration, and I tell you, this is what the intention was, Oh, let me talk about decriminalization, and everybody just forget. Everybody would just forget, and all what's going on in the world, everybody would have just forget, and then everybody would have been, well, they decriminalize marijuana. But that one fall through. Because most persons have seen through all of this. NDC, the National Democratic Congress, is a failing government, or who have failed us significantly in important conversations. And we are wanting you guys to please leave. Go all your way. No, they're not afraid to say it on Facebook and wherever else. Go all your way. As indicated, and you could go on to Jenny Simon's page. These persons are failing, or wanting the police. After you just boast about, oh, we give police rank and historical rank. You want police take 3% right now. They want to give police 3%. After they themselves take a 150% increase. Cabinet members and others. $300. Well, them vehicle and them what they give, Papa, oi. See them vehicle they give there? Well, stop use the vehicle. They stop use the vehicle. Right now, every man jack, them vehicle leaving from point A to point B. They're not using the vehicle at all. But they got $2,000 increase for drivers before, you remember? And you see your kilos before we did. I ain't willing to go. You hear me? If you're willing to go, I am willing to go. Get registered Grenadians. Tell a friend to tell a friend. We don't have one leader here. You hear me? And you see a one person they could push. But through every aspect of the new national party, You can get leadership, you can get experience, you can get knowledge, you can get a wealth of it. Experience, we have boasted about it. We have proven ourselves time and time again when elected. Well, you hijack, set of fellas hijack the NDC. And they feel that should happen here. So you see the narrative they start to push? Oh, Dr. Mitchell put that one. I'm not even addressing that about leadership. Me ain't even addressing that. Because I am certain at the end of the day, the no political leader is going to remain the political leader and the next general election. Yeah? But I tell you, they're trying to push all narrative. For the weekend, they had about 2 meetings. They went up by Lennox, David Andrew. They went by Mr. Tellisford, I think, Lennox, not Lennox now, but Mr. Tellisford. And only through scrolling through Facebook, you see they trying to put up. Last week, Thursday, shocked them. Last week, Thursday, still have a buzz. So you see they put it up all kind of thing. Every minute they post it, every minute. Because we have proven to them that all the narrative, they come, oh, Dr. Mitchell don't want to give up leadership. He gave it up. Oh, Dr. Mitchell don't want to choose nobody to run. Choose somebody. So they have a next one now. Oh, he want to take over leadership now. We're proving them wrong again. Every time the narrative keeps changing. Every time. Focus on that, Grenadians. This is an administration that was not ready and still isn't ready to govern our country. We take the chance, okay? We give them a chance. They ask for it, we give them. But they have since failed us. They have failed us. This administration is not ready for governance. Imagine the Prime Minister, the Prime Minister still in training. The Prime Minister, we give the Prime Minister training, you know. We elect somebody to train to be a Prime Minister. This man say he wish he read about that more. He wish he know about politics more. For the dislike, for the displeasure of an individual, we high-handedly give this man the task to run this country. That is craziness, Grenadians. That is state affairs. This man doesn't understand diplomatic ties, regional consequences. You turn away Haitians. You turned away Haitians speaking about the country's boss. But you're in conversation now in what you are calling third world refugees. Is in the same country's boss. And don't come and tell me about, America say they go finance them. If after 1 month, the persons are here, America say they're no longer funding them, what can we do? We go send them back in America? No, let's be realistic. Let's put our heads where it's supposed to be. We take in the refugee because we don't have a choice. When they sometimes you do things and you don't, sometimes you don't have a choice, you know. But you must have a say in the conversation. Even if it's like a demand you have to make. Even if you have to bring talk here. Even if you have to bring talk. We saw Minister Steele one time brought some talk here. I'm just saying, you're going in and out empty-handed. Your diplomatic conversation is a void. You can't say nothing. Nothing is being said. Our young people are left trapped in what to expect. How much young people glad you decriminalize marijuana? How much young people you see glad about that? Huh? You shake one Rasta hand on TV. Where the rest of the Rastafarians in this country? Where's the excitement? How much of them glad? How much of them glad? I'm catch a man with a little 5-piece. The coach charge him what? $200-300 before. I mean, 150 sometimes in some case. No, a man could be given a citation for $300. Telling me that betterment and decriminalization is legalization. Legalization means to omit every criminal charge that goes with an offense. That's what it means. It's no more wrong to do it. That's what it means. You could do it anyway, anytime, have any amount, do, pampalam. That's what legalization is. So that is what we want, ladies and gentlemen. That voice, that conversation. And they're not giving us that. Then we send them on vacation. Somebody tell me, let's retire them. They're too young for retirement. Although the kind of money they make is like, in 2 and 3 years, it's like they work 40 years for it. And you see, they fake. Had to stand yesterday and hear one bellow about pan. I'll address that tomorrow. Some issues to deal with when it comes to our culture in Grenada. So I'm waiting for them. I'm waiting to see. So ladies and gentlemen, this brings me to the end of today's conversation. I want you to join me again tomorrow as we continue this conversation as it relates to the recklessness that is happening in Grenada, Carriacou, PD Martinique. So I want you to join me back here again, another class in session program. I'll be here for the entire week this week. I did explain, and I hope you guys can forgive me doing a little parenting duties, and that will change by this week, right? So I want to thank you guys for being here this afternoon. We're going to be back here again tomorrow. God's blessings to each and every one of you, and continue to be a part of the class in session program. It was a pleasure. God's blessings to each and every one of you.
The Saturday Football Meets Food Fest. Victoria got nice. The action continues in the Andrew Monroe Knockout Football Competition at the Alston George Park. Game 1 on Saturday from 7 p.m. features a clash between Bonaire and Montpariel, while the second encounter from 9 p.m. sees a matchup between Upstreet and Old Boys. After the football, all roads lead to Diamond Street for Food Fest. This Saturday, Victoria Nice. Football Meets Food Fest.
You're too fit. Only my friend. Mr. Brooks, though it's only she, would reveal it. Ah, boy. Some people is razor blade. Careful with them razor blade. Some people is razor blade. Careful with them razor blade. On the boat side, they cutting on the boat. They cutting on the boat side, they cutting on the boat. They cutting on the boat side, they cutting on the boat. They cutting on the boat side, they cutting on the boat. All my trust, I put in you. When I go, I come to you. And the bills, I cannot pay. It's only you. No, my Sunday, I thought you was my friend. You know how to pretend. What kind of thing is this? You're talking my business. I don't need enemy. If you're doing that to me, saying you have my back, but you eating me like shark. Some people is razor blade. Careful when you razor blade. Some people is razor blade. Careful when you razor blade. They cutting on the boat side. They cutting on the boat. They cutting on the boat side. They cutting on the boat. They cutting on the boat side. They cutting on the boat. They cutting on the boat side. They cutting on the boat. Life is hard. It's a struggle. I need someone I could talk to. You're telling me what people say. only negative, but you're doing it the same way. I thought you was my dukes. You're kicking me with your boots. That smile you're giving real. Praise God, I'm standing still. The money you borrow me, you're telling everybody the things I do for you. You forget to tell them to some people it's razor blade. Careful when them razor blade. Some people it's razor blade. Careful when them razor blade. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. They cut in on the both side. They cut in on the boat. Not everybody that laugh with you is your friend. Watch them. Hi. Razor, razor, cutting razor. Razor, razor, chopping razor. Razor, razor, cutting razor. Razor, razor, chopping razor. I don't want no razor blade. I don't need no razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. Them sharpen razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. I don't need no razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. Them sharpen razor blade. Some people is razor blade. Careful when them razor blade. Some people is razor blade. Careful when them razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. I don't need no razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. Them sharpen razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. I don't need no razor blade. I don't want no razor blade. Them sharpen razor blade.